Welcome to this week's Dream Car judging video here at BOTB. We'd now like to hand over to today's lawyer from Onside Law who'll oversee the proceedings.
My name's Alex Bromley-Martin from Onside Law, and I'll be overseeing the judging this morning. Firstly, I can confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditing company Assets. I would now like today's judges to introduce themselves and, using the secure link provided, mark on the screen where they think the centre of the ball should be. The group will then come to a final panel decision.
Good morning, my name is Matt Cannon. I'm a senior county referee and footballer.
Hi, my name's Renee Hector and I'm the head coach for Watford FC Women.
Good morning, my name's Andy Braithwaite and I'm a football referee, mentor and licensed observer.
Hello, my name's Wendy Martin. I previously played for Tottenham Hotspur Ladies and currently play beach soccer for England and Team GB.
Hi, I'm Jenna Scalacci, retired professional footballer, now operations manager at Tottenham Hotspur Academy.
Hi, my name is Kieran Fitzgibbon. I've played football for more than 30 years and I'm also a referee.
I'm Nigel Hicks. I've been the Supply League match official for 30 years and I'm an experienced football administrator.
My name's Liam Walsh. I'm a retired referee and referee coach. I'm currently keeping active as a referee matchday observer.
Judges, please now come to a final panel decision. For your reference, the larger white cross is the calculated average of the 8 individual selections.
Thank you very much indeed, Alex. Good morning, everybody. Before I draw my lines, I'm going to come to you, Nigel. There you are in the middle of us all, the light blue cross that's magnified there. Could you explain what you're seeing in the photograph, trajectory of the ball, etc., and then how you reached your decision, please?
Thanks, Matt. Morning, everyone. So for me, I feel it's probably a bouncing ball. I don't feel the ball has gone up that high because I think if it was a dropping ball, they'd probably be jumping or reaching more for it. So I feel it's coming towards them at probably a slower pace. Ball's coming from right to left. I make the blue favourite for that. I feel the red red shirt player further back is looking over the head of the blue. And probably isn't going to reach it, but has got sight of the ball, so he's looking up. Bit of white under the red's eyes, so he's looking up over the top of the blue, but not particularly high. Otherwise, the head would be tilted further back. Blue player has got the head tilted right back and is looking fairly vertical. Obviously, as we said before, can't look out the top of your brow, but is looking up and getting that head ready to meet that ball just as it drops down. And for me, those two intersections is where I put my cross.
Great, thank you. So I'll draw some lines in first from the player in red at the back. We have Jenna's to the left. And just we have Renee's to the right. And then looking up from this player in blue, again, Jenna to the left and Renee to the right. So I shall come around today. So that means, Jenna, you're next. There's your orange cross, a little bit higher than Nigel's. What did you see in the photo?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So I felt the ball was coming in from right to left. I still felt the ball had some time to travel, hence where I've put my my cross. I felt just looking at the two body positions, they still look quite relaxed. I don't think the ball's dropping in imminently at all. I took a line up from the player in blue, just kind of through his forehead and out ever so slightly. I felt the ball was maybe drifting over the player in blue, and there was still time for the player in red to get closer and maybe get over the player in blue to make contact and header the ball back where it's coming from. I then took my lines up from the player in red. I felt he was looking out in front of him. Again, I think his face looks slightly more focused than the player in blue, which is why I felt like he would be favourite to win the ball there. But yeah, I still feel like it had time to travel in, hence why I've gone slightly higher.
Yeah, so the ball's coming right to left but in the air, going over the top of the blue player. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your favourite, sorry, I missed that part.
Favourite, I felt red was going to come over the player in blue to make contact.
Yeah, apologies. Thank you very much. So coming around to you next, Andy, there's your yellow cross there that's magnified a little bit further to the right and a little bit further down. What did you see?
Thanks, Matt. Not really that much to add to what's been said already, apart from I just felt that as Jenna says, player red and player blue both look quite relaxed. The arms are literally by their sides as we're looking. So for argument's sake, blue hasn't raised his arms out to try and protect himself or protect the ball, and red hasn't got his arms up to try and push into the back of him or protect himself from blue coming back. So the reason why my cross is where it is, I just felt the ball was that touch a little bit further away, coming in from right to left at quite a steep trajectory. I'm not sure, to be honest, who's favourite. I just feel there's a ball dropping in. At the moment, if I had to say, it would be blue. But basically, both look relaxed, ball dropping in steeply.
Yeah, thank you very much. And coming a bit further round and a little bit lower is yours, Renee. There's your green cross. How did you get to your position?
Yeah, similar in terms of both players are super relaxed, so I feel like the ball isn't imminent. Coming from right to left, hard to tell who the favourite is. I think if I was going to pick anybody, I would pick red. But just had a look at the eye lines. Obviously, blue's looking relatively steeply, but I just felt like it's a bit more out in front of him than some of the other judges. And then obviously cross-reference that with the player in red's eyes, and that's why I came to my decision there.
Yeah, thank you. And then we've got this little cluster of three, and I'll come to you individually right to left. So that means yours, Kieran. There's your purple cross that's magnified. Did you see it the same way?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Good morning, everybody. Fairly similar. I do think the player in blue is relaxed. I'm not too sure about the player in red. I think he's leaning forward. For me, I wasn't sure how this ball's coming. We've got no other reference, but I do feel it's just dropping in. But I feel there's a little bit of surprise on the Blues' face. His mouth is open. He's not in a position to play the ball, so it's come from an unusual direction for him. And the player in red, I think, is leaning forward and he's going to make a contest of this and try and get in possibly over the shoulder of the player in blue. But I did take the eye lines as where I thought the ball was. I favoured the blue, but I'm not sure the player in red could come over the top, so I'm 50-50 on that. I'm not really certain one way or the other. But I did take the eye lines, felt the ball was just in front of the player in blue, and the player in red's looking more or less on a straight perpendicular line to his head out towards the ball. So that's where I placed my cross.
Yeah, thank you. And just to the left and a tiny bit lower is yours, Wendy. Did you agree with that?
Similar. For me, I think it's the second ball, and I think it's dropping in. So for that reason, I make blue the favourite to win it, because I think it would need to be a flatter trajectory of the ball if sort of the red was going to sort of be favourite, because I think it's dropping in. For me, I think the Blues' favourite is trying to maybe just get himself under the ball to sort of maybe flick it sort of sideways or sort of get a touch on it. I think the player in blue does look sort of quite relaxed, and again for me he's sort of more the favourite, The player in the red, he's grimacing. He looks like he's sort of working to try and get close to the player, get sort of close to the ball, but definitely doesn't sort of look as comfortable. And then just took their sort of the eye lines of both players as well. There's a little bit of white under the player in red's eyes. Just sort of a tiny bit, and then also I think the player in blue is obviously looking very steeply, but we can't see through our eyebrows, as I think has been said many times before. So that's why I've put it just sort of out a little bit further in front of the player.
Yeah, and then Liam, there you are. You're just on that little closer than to two players from the little group of three of you.
Yes, thanks. Good morning, Matt.
Morning.
So for me, I liked Nigel's description and Wendy's actually was, secondary ball, bouncing ball coming in from right to left. I make the red favourite. I wouldn't want to be competing against. I wouldn't want to be the guy in blue because I think the guy in red is just too physical here. I think he's coming through. I've gone for regards his eye line. I've kept it a little bit low. Well, I'm in line with the other guys, but there's a little bit of white under his eye, but no furrow to his brow. So I think, and as always been alluded to by a valued colleague, is he's going to head the ball. So he's looking through the centre ball, but to head it. And then for the guy in blue, I think he's completely out of position. He's trying to readjust. His body's turned. He's awkward, his head angle, but he's, we've got a clear eye looking up. He's got white under the eye and a furrowed brow. So he's looking, as been referred to, he's looking steeply, but for me, he's still looking into the foreground. And that's my scenario, and that's where my line's intersected.
Yeah, thank you. And then we come back into the middle next to yours, Nigel, is my own red cross. I thought the player in blue was relaxed, but I totally agree with you, Liam. I think he's just watching the ball pass him by, and I think the player in red at the back, he looks to me like his emotion, his shirt's all sort of up and billowing off his back a little bit down here where the number is, and when his arm, he looks like he's running, his hair's up to me, and I think he's just powering across. And as you've eloquently put it, Liam, I think he's. I wouldn't like to be in the blue player's shoes. I think he's just going to come over the top and just power the header away. And I do personally think the ball's coming in at a little bit of a pace, but right to left. And this player is just looking at the ball pass him over, quite relaxed. And this player in red is just coming over the top, and I make him favourite to power header the ball away. So we've got some interesting scenarios. We all agree it's balls coming right to left. We've got three people, secondary ball, bouncing ball. We've got the ball in the air coming down at different trajectories, different paces. And we've got three saying either, with red and blue being the choice. And it's red's really favourite with 1, 2, 3 definites and blue 2 definites. So we got a bit of a split. So that's the calculated average. And as you see, it's a sort of there's 4 outside the or one completely outside Jenna's, and Andy's just popping out the top 2. And we have quite a narrow band up from the player in red with Jenna's outside. So I don't think it's fair as me to really judge to remove Jenna's. If I just to show you, it would just bring it into a tighter line. But I'd like to see what you think as a panel, whether that's indeed what we want to do, or indeed whether we're happy with this calculated average, which, if I draw a line up in a different colour, comes 4 above, 4 below. And if again take it from the player in blue, we've got really 2 out to the right, and Jenna's out to the left, and the other 5 smack in the middle of really on that line. Well, close enough to call it as not on the right or left, in my view. So I will come through individually. So Rennie, what are your thoughts?
I think in this instance, I would probably remove Jenna's just because I think it's a better eye line with the player in blue. I can't see that the player in blue is looking that steeply. And obviously my cross is a little bit down and to the right as well. So I think the average would be better sort of in the middle of that bottom cluster.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Andy?
In my opinion, on this occasion, Jenna's standalone is credible because it's not gone beyond past the guy in blue, but beyond his eye line. So I can see why she's put it there. So I personally would leave it as is.
Okay, thank you. Wendy?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think I would be, for me, I think maybe Jenna's is just a tiny bit too high. Again, it's a fair distance away from where I thought the ball was myself. I do like the average where it is. Can we just see actually Jenna's at the average about Jenna there again? Yeah, I think I prefer that average there. I think it just brings it a little bit closer and encompasses more people then as well. So yeah, I'd remove Jenna just to clarify.
Okay. Jenna?
I'm going to vote for mine to stay in. I just think given I feel the player in red's coming over to win the ball. If you were to remove mine, I then think that kind of erases the way I see this picture, because I think it would be too low for the red to come and contact the ball then.
Yeah, and of course, where your choice is impacts where the calculated average goes as opposed to your own individual choice. So yeah, understand completely. Kieran?
Yeah, Matt, I agree with some of the other judges here. I think Jenna's is a very credible position, but I feel that where the rest of the judges are, where most of us are on a lower trajectory from the player in red. So I would remove Jenna in this case.
Yeah. And Nigel?
I would actually keep Jenna's in, and everyone's in for that matter. I actually think, I listened to her rationale, and it was credible for me. I could see the ball being where she's put her across, but I also like where the average is, so I would leave as is.
Yep. Liam?
Stick, please, Matt, just to put Jenna out of her misery. My rationale is I think her explanation is credible. I think it's as well. There's 4 people out. You alluded to early on, 4 people outside the sphere, including myself. And you got like then 4, 4 obviously inside, and it's about the overall it gives. And I really like, although it's a little bit higher than where I put my initial cross, I really like the average of all 8 judges this morning.
Yeah. And lastly, myself, I don't personally think that the ball is as high as Jenna's put it, but that's my own personal opinion. But what's very important, again, to reiterate, which I think you've just mentioned, Liam, and a couple of the judges have alluded to, that it's where this calculated average is. And although I don't think the ball is as high as Jenna's put out, if I remove Jenna, it brings it further away from my own. And Jenna made the point, which I agree with, the ball's got to be a little bit higher trajectory for my decision to come across with the red player coming across. He needs a little bit of height. So I'm happy with this calculated average. It's closer to mine. And again, with removing Jenna's, it's further away from mine. So Alex, after a good panel discussion, we decided to judge at this calculated average with all 8 judges taken into consideration.
Thank you. If you're all happy, then please click submit. Thank you, judges. The coordinates selected are X3261, Y859. These coordinates will now be passed to the auditing company assets to calculate the winner of the competition, and they will then inform BOTB. This concludes the judging process. Thank you.